All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're excited to tell you about another exciting funding opportunity from the Bureau of Justice Assistance. This one is the FY 2024 Second Chance Act Pay for Success program. This is an exciting opportunity to fund new or expand existing initiatives to provide reentry services as well as permanent supportive housing. We're excited to tell you all about this today, how it can help provide much needed services in your community, and some of the details about what you have to do to apply. Next slide, please. So I'm Charlie Francis, Deputy Program Director. I lead our housing team here at the Council State Government's Justice Center, and we are the Category 3 training and technical assistance provider for the health and housing portfolio for BJA under the Second Chance Act for the Council of State Government's Justice Center. And I'll pass over to my colleague, Bethea, who will introduce himself and get us started with the first part of this webinar.
Thank you so much, Charlie. Hello, everyone. My name is Bethea. I'm Senior Policy Advisor at the U.S. Department of Justice within the Office of Justice Programs, located at the Bureau of Justice Assistance. Next slide. So again, today we're going to be talking about fiscal year 2024 Second Chance Act Pay for Success program. We have a full agenda. We're going to discuss the welcome and introduction to OJP and BJA, program overview, then we'll tap into the eligibility and application requirements for this grant program, and we'll look at application resources. Next slide. So section 1, welcome and introduction. Next slide. The Office of Justice Programs provides funding, training, research, and statistics to the criminal justice community. OJP is one of 3 grant-making components of the Department of Justice, along with the Office on Violence Against Women and the Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services. There's several divisions within the Office of Justice Programs. There's the SMART Office, OJJDP, OVC, NIJ, BJS, and of course, where this funding is being administered, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, BJA. Next slide. So, the mission at BJA is to provide leadership and services in grant administration and criminal justice policy development to support state, local, and tribal justice strategies to achieve safer communities. BJA works with communities, governments, and nonprofit organizations to reduce crime, recidivism, and unnecessary confinement, and promote a safe and fair criminal justice system. Our current director is Carlton F. Moore. Please check us out on our website as well as our social media. Next slide. So how does BJA support the field? Through investments, meaning we provide diverse funding to accomplish goals, by sharing knowledge, where we research, develop, and deliver what works to build capacity and improve outcomes. Also through engagement, where we consult, connect, and convene. Next slide. This funding is made possible through Second Chance Act, which is funding to reduce recidivism and improve outcomes for youth and adults leaving detention and incarceration to return to their communities. Second Chance Act was signed into law in 2008. It was reauthorized in 2018. To date, over $600 million in grants to develop, implement, and test strategies have been made through Second Chance Act. Next slide. So there are a suite of programs that come out of Second Chance Act funding. Please know that many of these solicitations are currently open, while others will be opening in the coming weeks. Next slide. what does BJA's SCA grant funding do, right? So through Second Chance Act, grant funding sort of kind of serves as seed money or to be used to proof of concept, or it could be used to expand or enhance an existing program. Second Chance Act funding also provides training and technical assistance to grantees so that they can do this great work with fidelity, move programs and move the field in line with the current research, as well as provide project management and content expertise. The National Reentry Resource Center to support Second Chance Act training and technical assistance providers and the reentry field at large is also funded through the Second Chance Act. Next slide. So this is how BJA grant management looks. I work in the BJA policy office. If you do become a grantee and are awarded these funds, you will also be working with a BJA programs manager from the programs office, who will be your direct line of contact. And also, you will be working with the technical assistance provider, which is currently the Council of State Governments Justice Center. And I'll pass it over back to you, Charlie. Next slide.
Thanks so much, Andre. Like I said, I'm from the Council of State Governments Justice Center, and we are pleased to support you as you are doing this work. And one of the things that we do is we operate the National Reentry Resource Center. And this is a collaborative project of the Bureau of Justice Assistance and OJJDP, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. And so the primary mission of the NRRC is to advance the knowledge base of the reentry field. And we do this in a number of ways. And one of the key ways that we do this is serving as a convener and a coordinator of SCA grantees. Next slide, please. So now section 2, we want to talk in a little bit more detail about the Pay for Success initiative itself. Next slide. So in FY 2024, there's going to be an estimated 6 total awards under this program. As in prior years, the maximum award amount is up to $1 million. And the performance duration is 54 months. Next slide. And similar to past years, there's 2 categories. Category 1 is performance-based and outcomes-based contracting for reentry services, so a bit of a broader category. And category 2 is performance-based and outcomes-based contracting for permanent supportive housing. Next slide. And so what is the purpose of the Pay for Success initiative? You can see that written down here. The key is to support, governments at every level to use these contracting vehicles, to either enhance an existing program or implement a new program. And we've seen great examples of both. To take evidence-based responses to improve reentry, reduce recidivism, and address the treatment and recovery needs of people with mental health, substance use, or co-occurring disorders who are either currently involved with the criminal justice system or were formerly involved. So that's kind of the big picture of the program. And we'll continue to give you some examples of kind of how that plays out so you can see yourself a little bit better in the program and, some ideas for how you might put together an application. Next slide. And so the goals of this initiative, there's 3: enhancing public safety, lowering recidivism, and improving the lives of individuals leaving the criminal justice system in 2 ways: performance-based and outcomes-based contracting for reentry services and through permanent supportive housing. Again, those are those 2 categories that I was talking about a little bit earlier. Next slide. And the objectives of the initiative: enhancing or establishing contracts, performance-based or outcomes-based, to provide reentry services or permanent supportive housing. And the key here is identifying individuals through a validated risk tool. And part of our technical assistance is helping you select it and implement this tool. And individuals who are identified through this tool as being at moderate or high risk to reoffend. And part of doing this work as well includes building capacity to complete a whole range of related activities. Performance and outcome reviews as you do this work, validating outcomes, as well as incentivizing some of the different outcomes that you select through these contracts. Next slide. And so in each of the categories has specific focus areas as well too, so you see we're drilling down a little bit on each slide here. So in category 1, enhancing or establishing individualized reentry services, and then delivering those services based on risk and needs. So using that risk assessment instrument to select the people that you serve and tailoring those services based on risk and needs. And then also making sure that you include various contract elements, and the solicitation goes into more detail as to what those elements are, and making sure that staff and service providers have the right training to do this work. Next slide, please. And if you look at the category 2 focus areas, they're analogous to category 1, but they're focused instead on permanent supportive housing. So again, you're still entering into the same sorts of contracts, but instead they're focused on providing permanent supportive housing to people who have a substance use disorder, as well as managing the contract, focusing on data collection, performance and outcome reviews, etc. And again, making sure that all the staff and service providers doing this work have the training to provide the services, measure outcomes, and validate that those outcomes are being achieved. That's really kind of the heart and soul of this program. Next slide. So this is definitely not an exhaustive list of allowable uses of grant funds, but just to give you a sense of the types of work that you can do under this program. Things like screening and assessment, providing housing stabilization services, peer support, care coordination. There's a whole range of things, and we're happy to provide more examples if you want to reach out to us, and we'll provide contact information at the end of this webinar. But we recognize that to do this work effectively requires a real flexibility based on what the needs are in your community. Next slide. Speaking of which, here's a few examples of potential programs based on what our actual grantees are doing right now. Permanent supportive housing and case management for what are often known as familiar faces, people who tend to cycle between multiple public systems of care. A reentry services program focused on high-risk young men to address trauma and improve employment and other outcomes. Or the last one, looking at an existing model permanent supportive housing for people leaving DOC custody, expanding into new areas of the state. So there's really a range of different things you can do with this work. Next slide. So now I'll pass it back to Andre to talk more about eligibility and application requirements.
Thank you so much, Charlie. Next slide. So who's eligible for the fiscal year 2024 Second Chance Act Pay for Success program? State governments, special district governments, city or township governments, county governments, Native American tribal governments that are federally recognized. Also, public housing authorities, as well as Indian housing authorities. Next slide. So now we're going to peel into some of the application requirements, right, that go into these huge proposals. So the proposal abstract, the proposal narrative, the budget worksheet and budget narrative, which is a web-based form, as well as the application for federal assistance, the SF424. See the grant solicitation for more details. Next slide. So the proposal abstract should include a summary of the purpose of the project, primary activities, expected outcomes, the service area, known intended beneficiaries, and subrecipients. Write it in the third person for a public audience, as it will be publicly available on the Office of Justice Programs website if the project is awarded. Next slide. So the proposal narrative, things to note. So there's the description of the issue, right? So service provision capacity in your relevant category. Any past efforts to enter into performance outcome-based contracts, as well as the project design and implementation, right? Identify needed data sharing agreements, memorandums of understanding, agreements in a description of partnerships with one or more correctional agencies if you're not the correctional agency that's applying, as well as a description of requested priority considerations, and there are quite a few in fiscal year 2024. Next slide. So now, also included in your proposal narrative should be capabilities and competencies, as well as speak to your plan for collecting data on performance measures. Make sure you include a timeline for project goals, objectives, and deliverables. Next slide. So now we're going to go into grantee deliverables, right? What happens should you become a grantee? An analysis that demonstrates reentry service or permanent supportive housing needs using data indicating the number and needs of people to be served. An analysis that demonstrates the performance targets or outcomes selected for payment. So that means contracts must include recidivism performance targets or outcomes, not just behavioral health milestones. It must include recidivism performance targets or outcomes. Next slide. Also within your grantee deliverables, should you be awarded this funding, an analysis that demonstrates the grantee's decision about the performance-based or outcomes-based contract structure, repayment strategy, and timing of payments. Also, you must complete an action plan consisting of deal structures, outcomes-based strategies, and key indicators and revised milestones for this award. Revised milestones for this award. I think that's worth repeating. Next slide. And now we're coming in on understanding that also what will happen if you are awarded these funds and become a grantee, there will be a revised contract term report, as well as a final report that documents the intervention, outcomes, and lessons learned. Next slide. So now we're going to go into the review criteria. You're submitting a proposal. Well, let's talk about the applications that meet the basic minimum requirements will be evaluated by peer reviewers on, right? 15% is description of the issue. We just mentioned that. 35% regards your project design and implementation. 25% of your entire proposal reflects capabilities and competencies. 15% in the review criteria will be for plans for collecting the data required for this solicitation's performance measures. And 10% will be weighed for the budget. Next slide. So now we're entering section 4, which we're just going to talk about application resources that you should be using as you are considering applying for the fiscal year 2024 Second Chance Act Pay for Success. Next slide. The OJP Grant Application Resource Guide is available. Please, by all means, walk through each portion. This is almost a checklist of all the things that matter regarding the Office of Justice Programs grants. Next slide. We also have the Just Grants system, which is the system we use for grant management there is an in-depth tutorial on many pieces of the Just Grant system. Please review before attempting to upload your grant application. Next slide. So this is a twofold piece, right? In terms of deadlines, there is a grants.gov deadline, and then there's a Justice Grants deadline. Application assistance for each entity is different. Grants.gov, there's a separate source of hotline and information so that you can have technical assistance with submitting your SF424 as well as your SFLLL. If you're having trouble need help troubleshooting Just Grants, then that's a separate support hotline and web resource, which this is totally only for DOJ's Justice Grant system. Next slide. We are available on all portions of social media, and that includes getting email updates. You can text OJP, and you can go to the OJP website to sign up for the latest and greatest news on grant funding, as well as other resources. Please subscribe to stay informed and stay connected. Next slide. Again, we want you to stay connected with us on all of our social media and platforms. Next slide. If you have any questions regarding this solicitation out of the Bureau of Justice Assistance, please contact the OJP Response Center at grants@ncjrs.gov. They also have a toll-free number to promote fairness amongst all applicants. We encourage everyone to submit all questions to the Office of Justice Programs Response Center. Next. A gentle reminder that there are dual deadlines. So you must submit your SF424 and SFLLL at grants.gov, right? And then there's a separate deadline after, and only after you submit at grants.gov will you be allowed to submit the full application with attachments at justgrants.usdoj.gov. Please note submission deadlines times for both grants.gov and Just Grants are now 8:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and not 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as it was in past years. Read the solicitation carefully for further guidance. Next slide. Wanted to show the screen, which is full of quick references and important context. Again, grants.gov for technical assistance submitting your SF424 and SFLLL. Just Grants, which is Justice Grant System, for technical assistance submitting the full application into DOJ's Just Grant System, as well as for any technical assistance with programmatic requirements to reach out to the Office of Justice Programs Response Center. Next. Thank you so much for joining us. That concludes the solicitation webinar for fiscal year 2024 Second Chance Act Pay for Success Grant Program. Thank you.